Welcome to the first episode of the brand new series of subscriber gameplay reviews on Battlefield 5, and of course you can see all the things on screen there are things I'm going to look at and take into consideration when analysing your guys' gameplay. But without further ado, let's get into the first video, which is going to be analysing Noob of Evil's gameplay on Rotterdam with the scout class, so using snipers and getting 75 kills. So the beginning of the game on Rotterdam is one of the most important ones, especially if you're playing with a sniper, because you need to realise that you always need to use as much as you can throughout the entirety of this Conquest game on Rotterdam, especially with a sniper, is using that power position on the bridge by C flag. So at the start of the game here, he's going to push through C towards A underneath the bridge, and so of course that is probably the first kind of mistake here, or thing which you could do differently, and that is push to that power position on the bridge. You can hear in a second the amount of enemies who are above you on the bridge as well, which is loads of easy kills at the start of the game on enemies running down those straight 3 lanes on the train, the left, the right and the middle. They're really easy kills and easy headshots which you can get. And of course, using the power position on the bridge then enables him to kill any of the enemies then, look, which have captured B, which are now going to run from B to D. And of course any enemies again still coming from A down the bridge across to C, and shoot them going from C to E. So after a death on the next spawn here, look, you can see he's got a spawn beacon from a teammate. He can spawn on the bridge right next to the power position. Every time you respawn, you know, you've always got to try spawn and get as close as you can to that power position, because that's where you're going to be able to see the most amount of enemies, like I've said, and get the most amount of kills, especially using a sniper on Rotterdam. But he is going to spawn down the bottom here, and he's going to push along the waterfront towards B flag, picks up a really nice collateral there. Making use as well, you can see this is a good thing, making use of the spawn beacon gadget which you have got. You have to use that when you're playing the scout class, because it just, you know, always put this down because it always gives you a spawn point close to where the enemies are going to spawn, you know, or close to the power position. That's the main thing. Use your spawn beacon and put it near the power position, or at least use it anywhere you can, because of course, you know, you haven't got to respawn on the flag, which is far away from combat, and therefore you are wasting valuable and precious time having to run back to find enemies. So now he's going to push past B and back around towards A flag, and the positive here, which you can see, is when I talk about threat identification, he is always, while pushing towards A flag, he's watching that bridge, which is where loads of the snipers in this game have the high ground and have the advantage over you who are pushing towards the flag. Luckily, he has a sniper and is therefore obviously able to fight back against them. But the main positive here, look, as you can see, he is always focusing on that bridge, which is going to be the main threat here pushing forward. Of course, there is a tank, which you can't really do anything about. He's not going to be able to shoot back at the tank with the scout class with no explosives. So, you know, aside from the tank, if you forget about the tank, you know, he's taking on that main threat, which is showing therefore good threat identification when moving to and from different positions. Before then, of course, pushing on to A and picking up a few more kills. So next we're going to move on to also a very positive clip, where here he's going to push up onto the bridge on this main power position, which I always talk about, which is so vital for snipers. And as you can see from this position, you can see all the flags around it, as well as up and down the entire length of the bridge, which is again very linear and absolutely perfect and easy for picking off enemies and getting headshots with a sniper. So he's going to push down the bridge now from the power position towards A, because the enemies have only got that one flag, so they're going to be spawning there and they're going to be coming down the bridge. So this is just perfect, easy headshots. You'll see as well in a second, he's going to make use of using the spawn beacon, so he can spawn on the bridge, which is going to be the power position. So you're going to make sure he gets a good spawn and isn't going to have to spawn on any of the flags, for example, C or B, and then have to run, you know, for 30 seconds or a minute and waste a minute's time. But you can also see here he's always standing behind cover as he's pushing down the bridge. He's leaning as well, which is also very good, making himself a smaller target to hit. And you can see as well here, you know, when any enemies push him or he runs out of ammo, he's not afraid to fall back. You haven't always got to be aggressive, and so he is falling back, and he's keeping that advantage of having a gun which is good at long range, and the enemies who are on A flag using SMGs, for example, or even assault rifles, are going to have a much harder time killing him, because he's at a longer distance than them, and his gun's more effective at long range. So he doesn't need to be aggressive and push in. He's got a better chance of staying alive and getting kills as quick by keeping his distance. That's what the gun is made for. You know, that's why I say about using the main power position on the bridge, because you don't need to be aggressive with the sniper and push in everywhere when you can use that one position on the map, which allows you to just to see the entirety of the map and all the flags and all the enemies on it. And you've got a long-range sniper, again, which has the best effectiveness out of all the guns in the game from that power position to maximize and get the most amount of kills. Now the next one is a rotational mistake, and you can see after clearing A flag, he's going to push towards B flag. However, if he pushes back towards the power position on the bridge by C flag, he's going to be able to see both B and D flag, which is going to maximize the potential amount of enemies he sees and can therefore kill. Now the next case is a 1v1, and this happens a few times in this game where he's a bit too aggressive. If you do come into a 1v1 like this, then just, you need to use that cover to get the first shot on the enemy before then switching to your pistol and being aggressive. But as soon as he jumps here out into the open, he exposes himself completely, and he's only going to survive there if he lands a one-shot headshot. As soon as you miss that first shot or you only hit a body shot, you're dead. You're not behind cover, and you haven't got enough time to switch to your pistol and take on the enemy, which is in a 1v1, who is most likely going to be using, an SMG or an assault rifle. So you're going to pick up a few more kills here pushing towards A. However, the problem here is not spotting the opportunity to rotate early. You can see the flag is now cleared, and he does stay on the flag trying to find enemies or just enemies around the flag for another 30 seconds or so, when if you look at the top, the enemy are now capturing C and D, and he should be rotating back. So he does rotate back to C eventually. However, instead of going towards that power position on the bridge where you could see D and C from, he's pushing in onto C flag with a sniper again, so it's not very advantageous using a sniper going into a close quarters flag. And he's also now spent the time to, of course, go down onto C flag when he could have stayed on C, killing enemies spawning at their spawn on A, who are at D flag, and of course any enemies coming from C flag to the bridge. So here is another one of those 1v1 situations. As soon as he takes damage here from the enemy, he needs to get behind cover and peek it until he can get that first shot off and damage, so that you can then change to pistol and actually go into that 1v1 with a good chance of winning it. But you can see here, hasn't stayed behind cover after taking damage from the first enemy, but luckily he does manage to get the kill. The enemy runs out of ammo, but in that situation there, he should have died, but overall he stayed alive and picked up quite a few kills. So now his side has all the flags captured, and he's making a push towards B, which, as you can see, is the main flag the enemies are capturing, so that's good map rotation. And so we can see here, if you rewind 10 seconds there, the main threat might have been looking at snipers who are in the building. Here, running directly out in the open in the middle of the road, you need to pick either the left side or the right side. If you take any fire there while you're in the middle of the road, then you're not going to have enough time to, get to cover, because you're nowhere near any cover smack bang in the middle of the road there. So pick a side which you're going to go down, whether it's down the water side or the other side, which is close to the main building. But again, he manages to make it towards B flag and picks off a lot of nice kills. And again, same example, same place earlier, another 1v1 situation there, where he's exposing himself. And maybe he did make the hit with the first sniper shot, and so should have changed to his pistol to finish it off, because he could fire off loads more rounds with his pistol than chancing hitting that one shot with the sniper. So again, some more 1v1 situations. That's one of the main things I've talked about there. Okay, so in the next clip here, we've got him pushing in the enemy's spawn a bit on A flag. Really good cover here and leaning around cover. When you're playing as a sniper, you've always got to be close to cover, so that if you do miss a shot, you're able to take that dip in and out of cover to reload the bolt, because of course you've got a really slow fire rate gun, so you've always got to be really good with cover rotation when you're playing with a scout class. And he's identified now that they've captured the A flag, the enemy spawn flag, and now he's going to rotate towards B. But you can also see, again, like I said, the enemies are now capturing C flag, and they also have D flag. So the main rotational play here would be to go back to the power position on the bridge, so you can capture all the enemies from B and D, and then going to be C as they capture C. And he's got a short distance to run then from that power position on the bridge to any of the flags which he might actually then need to go to. Whereas here, he's run down towards the waterway at B, and now you can only really kill anyone who is at B here, and of course, over at D. And lastly, he's just going to push D flag in the final 20 tickets of the game and just try pick up as many kills as he can. But overall, a very positive game. It was quite a short game for Rotterdam, and he managed to hit 75 kills. The main points which I would say, which he needs to focus on, is knowing the power positions of the maps you're playing, specifically on the bridge here on Rotterdam, as well as keeping an eye on the flags more so that he knows where to rotate more, so he can get to where the enemies are going to be a lot quicker, so that he can find more enemies throughout the entirety of the game and therefore have the potential to hit that 100 kill game. But yeah, overall, very, very positive, and just those two key things there, which, needs to take into games in future. Smash the like and leave a comment if you would like your gameplay reviewed in future as well.